Turn to Section 1 of Practice Listening 13. Section 1. You will hear a conversation between two people, a customer, Steve, and a customer care person. Steve has bought a new mobile phone and he is facing some problems related to it. The talk is related to a complaint about the mobile phone. You have some time to look at questions 1 to 4. You will see that there is an example which has been done for you. The conversation relating to this will be played first. Good afternoon. May I help you?
Good afternoon. Yes, actually, I have to complain about the phone which I've bought from your agency.
Okay. Can you give me your details? What is your name? The complaint is about phone. So, the answer to the query is phone, which is written as an answer for the example. Now listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 4. Good afternoon. May I help you?
Good afternoon. Yes, actually, I have to complain about the phone which I've bought from your agency.
Okay. Can you give me your details? What is your name?
Steve Clooney. It's S-T-E-V-E.
Is it Clooney? C-L-U-N-E-Y?
No, it's Clooney. C-L-O-O-N-E-Y.
And your address, please?
Lotus Road, 72N.
L-O-T-U-S, Lotus Road. And it is near?
Near Community Hall.
Okay, thank you. Could I just ask, when did you start having problems with your phone?
It's only been 2 days. Today it's Friday, so I bought it on Wednesday.
Okay, hold on a minute. I am checking which series you had bought. It's Maple Phone 4B, right?
Yes, correct.
Now look at questions 5 to 10. As the talk continues, answer questions 5 to 10. Now, tell me what sort of problems are you having with it?
Well, the most dangerous thing, which I believe is when I talk on the phone, my ear immediately starts paining. And this had never happened before, as previously I had a Maple Phone 3A.
Oh, that's strange. And any other problem?
Yes, the other thing is that the battery dies in almost less than an hour.
Okay.
And also I forgot the charger wire is not in good shape and also it hangs frequently.
Oh, that seems that there are a lot of problems.
When can I come to replace it?
Can you come on Sunday?
Why not today evening?
Actually, the set which you want to get replaced will arrive on Saturday. It is not available right now.
But I can't wait that long. Still 3 days to go before Sunday comes.
I understand your problem, sir, but I won't be able to give you the same set today.
Then in that case, I want my money refunded, and you please forget about the phone.
Sir, please try to understand. Let me ask my manager if we can arrange the set.
Okay.
Sir, I have inquired. You can replace your set today itself, but for that you have to go to some other place. We know those dealers and they will replace your handset.
Okay, where will I have to go?
It is a bit far away from the city.
You give me the exact address.
Yes, please. It is shop number 21346, Tech City, near Chow Mau Hotel.
Can you guide me where is the Tech City exactly?
20 kilometres further from the Elephant Park.
Okay, I will just go now.
Sir, the shop closes early, so you have got only 2 hours.
You tell them that I'm coming and they have to replace my Maple 4B phone.
Yes, sir. We have informed them.
I hope I don't face any kind of problem in that.
No, sir, not at all. I can assure you that.
Okay, I will call you if I face any kind of issue. What's your name?
My name is Ricky.
Okay, thanks, Ricky.
Thank you for calling. Goodbye. That is the end of section 1. You will now have some time to check your answers. To section 2. Section 2. You are going to hear a radio presenter, Stu Lilker, who will tell the listeners that how Springfield Law got the unanimous vote for Lake City Code Enforcement Special Magistrate. First, look at questions 11 to 16.
Last night in Lake City, Florida, in the City Hall, the City Council held a workshop to interview Jennifer Springfield of Springfield Law for the position of Code Enforcement Special Magistrate. Late in 2013, City Manager Wendell Johnson presented the idea of establishing a Code of Enforcement Special Magistrate who would sit in place of the community members of the Lake City Code Enforcement Board. In January of 2014, the city put out a request for proposals for a Code Enforcement Special Magistrate. There was only one applicant, who withdrew because of a conflict of interest. In 1980, the state of Florida created Chapter 162 of the Florida Statutes. This law took the enforcement of local ordinances out of the courts and had violations handled by local citizen boards who were members of the community. This law also allows for the creation of a Code Enforcement Special Magistrate, which enables the city to have code enforcement cases handled by a special magistrate who may not be a member of the community. The request for proposal was put out again. That time there were 2 applicants from Gainesville. The finalist was Jennifer Springfield of Springfield Law, who in 2012 became the attorney for the ill-fated North Florida Broadband Authority, NFBA.
Now look at questions 17 to 20. As the talk continues, answer questions 17 to 20.
Ms. Springfield was the NFBA attorney while it was sinking into debt and was so unresponsive to the member counties, including Columbia County, that many pulled out. During that time and to the present day, City Manager Johnson has demonstrably been a supporter of Attorney Springfield. In her communication with Lake City, Ms. Springfield did not mention that she was and still is associated with the NFBA, a relationship that began amid much controversy in 2012. One of the Lake City's requirements for the Code Enforcement Special Magistrate was that the candidate be a previous member of the Code Enforcement Board or have had acted in the capacity of a special magistrate. Ms. Springfield did not meet that qualification. Another requirement was experience with municipalities of similar size as Lake City. Ms. Springfield did not appear to meet that requirement. The council asked only a handful of softball questions. In the list of requirements for the position, there was a statement that preference will be placed on firms or individuals based out of Columbia County, Florida. Throughout the whole process, not one council member asked City Manager Johnson why local firms weren't sent notices of the proposal. At the conclusion of Ms. Springfield's question and answer session, City Manager Johnson spent a comparable amount of time explaining to the council the theory of Lake City code enforcement. Mayor Witt and council members Jefferson, Moses and Word voted in favor of a future resolution hiring Ms. Springfield. Councilman Zach Polk refused to speak when asked for his vote. He didn't explain and he didn't abstain. He just didn't speak. His vote will be counted as a yes.
That is the end of section 2. You will now have some time to check your answers. Now turn to section 3. Section 3. In this section, you will listen to a speech given by Dalai Lama on the importance of emphasizing the equality of everyone as part of humanity. Now look at questions 21 to 27. Listen to the interview and answer questions 21 to 27.
My concern or feeling is that of course I'm Buddhist, but on further, deeper level, I'm a human being, one of the now nearly 7 billion human beings. I'm one of them. Humans are a social animal, so each individual's future entirely depends on the rest of humanity. So for my own self-interest, I have to think seriously about humanity. On the fundamental level, on the human level, according to my own experience, I know there are about 7 billion human beings. Each one wants a happy life. None of them wants suffering, and each one has every right to achieve that. There's no difference, whatever religious faith we may be, or as a non-believer, whatever social background we may come from, rich or poor, educated or uneducated, from a royal family or a beggar. We're the same human being on that level. We are the same. We all have the same right. I think with many problems that we, humanity as a whole, are facing, we place too much emphasis on the secondary level differences. I think Buddha Shakyamuni's motivation for gaining enlightenment was meant for all sentient beings. His whole life and his whole teaching were meant for sentient beings, not only for Buddhists. Look back at the 20th century. I think the 20th century has become a very, very important century in the whole of human history. We invented many, many positive things, and at the same time, the 20th century has become a century of bloodshed, a century of violence. Even in the name of different religious faiths, there was violence and division. So the 20th century really has become a century of bloodshed, a century of violence. According to some historian, over 200 million human beings were killed. If such immense suffering really brought about some good things on this planet, brought a more peaceful, happier world, then such an amount of suffering could be justified.
Now look at questions 28 to 30. As the talk continues, answer questions 28 to 30.
But that's not the case. Even at the beginning of this century, some unhealthy things and unhappy things here and there. These are, I think, the result of symptom or past mistakes, past negligence. And then also concerning technology, there are immense advances, but that technology also sometimes added to the power of destruction. Science and technology themselves are wonderful, but in order to use them constructively, it ultimately depends on this, our hearts. It depends on the heart of the user of the technology, the user of the science and the knowledge of science. If you expect a better world to come about from money, to come about from science, to come about from technology, that's wrong. If you really want a better world, a happier world, it ultimately depends on this, our hearts. Intelligence and education are also not very certain to bring about a better world. All these troublemakers we've had, I think as far as their brain are concerned, these people were very smart. So it's their motivation here in their hearts. Anger, fear, hatred, suspicion, they are the cause of these problems. So first of all, in order to make this 21st century become a peaceful century, we have to think about inner peace. Peace is never achieved through declarations, through resolutions, through slogans. Peace must come through inner peace. That's the only way. So in order to create a happier world, ultimately you have to look at this. the motivation of each individual through a world body like the United Nations, you can build inner peace. Peace must come through people's inner peace on the individual level.
That is the end of section 3. You will now have some time to check your answers. Now turn to section 4. Section 4. You will hear a student speaking on chocolate, its origin, production and popularity. The presentation will be beneficial to the students taking courses in bakery and confectionery. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 35. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 35.
Chocolate is a typically sweet, usually brown food preparation of Theobroma cacao seeds roasted and ground, often flavoured, as with vanilla. It is made in the form of a liquid, paste or in a block, or used as a flavouring ingredient in other sweet foods. Cacao has been cultivated by many cultures for at least 3 millennia in Mesoamerica. The earliest evidence of use traces to the Moquaya, that is, Mexico and Guatemala, with evidence of chocolate beverages dating back to 1900 BC. In fact, the majority of Mesoamerican people made chocolate beverages, including the Maya and Aztecs, who made it into a beverage known as a Nahuatl word meaning bitter water. The seeds of the cacao tree have an intense bitter taste and must be fermented to develop the flavour. After fermentation, the beans are dried, cleaned and roasted. The shell is removed to produce cacao nibs, which are then ground to cocoa mass, pure chocolate in rough form. Because the cocoa mass is usually liquefied before being moulded with or without other ingredients, it is called chocolate liquor. The liquor also may be processed into 2 components, cocoa solids and cocoa butter. Unsweetened baking chocolate, which is bitter chocolate, contains primarily cocoa solids and cocoa butter in varying proportions. Much of the chocolate consumed today is in the form of sweet chocolate, a combination of cocoa solids, cocoa butter or other fat, and sugar. Milk chocolate is sweet chocolate that additionally contains milk powder or condensed milk. White chocolate contains cocoa butter, sugar and milk, but no cocoa solids.
Now look at questions 36 to 40. As the talk continues, answer questions 36 to 40.
Cocoa solids are one of the richest sources of flavonol antioxidants. They also contain alkaloids such as theobromine, phenethylamine and caffeine. These have physiological effects on the body and are linked to serotonin levels in the brain. Some research has found that chocolate, eaten in moderation, can lower blood pressure. The presence of theobromine renders chocolate toxic to some animals, especially dogs and cats. Chocolate has become one of the most popular food types and flavours in the world, and a vast number of foodstuffs involving chocolate have been created. Chocolate chip cookies have become very common and very popular in most parts of Europe and North America. Gifts of chocolate moulded into different shapes have become traditional on certain holidays. Chocolate is also used in cold and hot beverages such as chocolate milk and hot chocolate. Although cocoa originated in the Americas, today Western Africa produces almost 2/3 of the world's cocoa, with Côte d'Ivoire growing almost half of it. European Union regulations require dark chocolate to have at least 60% cocoa solids, milk chocolate 25% and white chocolate none. The word chocolate entered the English language from Spanish. How the word came into Spanish is less certain, and there are competing explanations. Perhaps the most cited explanation is that the chocolatl comes from Nahuatl, the language of the Aztecs, from the word chocolate, which many sources derive from chocolatl, combining chococ, sour or bitter, and atl, water or drink. However, as William Bright noted, the word chocolatl does not occur in central Mexican colonial sources, making this an unlikely derivation. Santa Maria gives a derivation from the Yucatec Mayan word chocol, meaning hot, and the Nahuatl atl, meaning water. Sophie and Michael D. Coe agree with this etymology word chocolatl.
That is the end of section 4. Now you have some time to check your answers.